On Monday, tragedy once again struck when a suspect shot and killed 6 people, including 3 9-year-old children at a school in Nashville. As we work to grapple with yet another mass shooting, the question is, what can be done to try and keep people safe here? So here with me today to discuss a few things is Oklahoma Highway Patrol Trooper Eric Foster. Trooper Foster, as always, great to see you. Welcome in.
Good morning.
First, just reactions. I mean, it's hard to believe it happened again, but it's getting all too common. What was going through your head when you heard about this again?
Definitely heartbreak. And as a law enforcement officer, the first thing I'm thinking about is the response, because that's ingrained in us. What is the response? How did they get in there? Did they, what were they doing? And all those facts are coming in. But, as those things happen, when we're separated here in Oklahoma, we take those facts and we dissect them and we try to learn from them as well, to try to take anything good that we can from a terrible situation.
You just kind of led to my next question. I mean, what do you all do specifically when something like this happens? What are you looking at in particular?
So really, and this has been going on for quite a while, when a situation like this happens, the facts get gathered together and then they create a case study and they push it out to law enforcement nationwide to be able to take those facts, dissect them, the things that we're training. Do we need to update training? Do we need to take notice of different tactics that were used by the bad person? So all of those things are always learning. We're ever learning and trying to flow with that. And so that will continue with this as well. It's just, we try to take all of those things and just learn moment by moment.
Sure. And you guys have had some ongoing Mission SOS training here in Oklahoma. Tell me about what Mission SOS involves and some of the particulars of that.
So there were different prongs involved in that. That was an executive order that came out in July of 2022. And basically it said that every state trooper before the end of the year, 2022, had to be trained in a new updated active shooter response. Now, we had been trained in active shooter response for a long time. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I'd been to several schools learning active shooter response, and other agencies have as well. The difference was we were all trained by our own agencies separate. So when we would all show up at these situations, ad hoc, so to speak, we all had different terminologies, we all had different movements, we all had different tactics. And so we were able to operate, but it wasn't as seamless as it needed to be. And so with this, it was really mandating all of us need to be trained the same, to be able to communicate the same. And we've already seen it in action. You remember the swatting that we had earlier it's been several months ago, where there were 12 schools across the state of Oklahoma that were reported to have active shooters in that moment. And we were able to respond to all of those at the same time, simultaneously, and do that within minutes. And so it really shows how we're working together with that. So that was the first part. The second part was that every law enforcement officer from 2023 on, before they can get their certification to be a law enforcement officer in the state of Oklahoma, they have to be trained in the same system. So it's not just, different levels of law enforcement officers getting different levels of training. Everyone from the bottom all the way to the top are getting the same training, so that when we respond together, we're responding seamlessly.
And I'm sure that helps with whoever is closest to something that happens is able to respond immediately and take that over.
Well, I will tell you this. So, 90% of Oklahoma is rural. So we have rural school districts. Right. And like what you're saying, we have law enforcement officers spread out throughout the state. The other thing, a part of that SOS was the Rave Guardian panic button alert system, which is an application that can be on the phone, but it's web-based, so it can be on a computer as well, where teachers or clergy or wherever the situation can have that in their hand, and they can push that button. It's not a replacement for 911. We want people to call 911, but it just saves seconds to push that button, and that goes to the Oklahoma Highway Patrol, which goes out and notifies troopers on duty or off duty. So we have troopers that are involved in every community. You know, their children go to those schools, their grandchildren go to those schools. They may be off duty, but they're still getting notified at home that something is occurring. And so we already tested that in Custer County and showed great success in response times.
And when you talk about seconds, I mean, that can really make all the difference, though, in situations like this, I'm sure. Just last question here, as parents and, you know, as law enforcement and as a father and everything, you know, how do you have these conversations with your families and your kids? What advice would you have to people to try to keep themselves as safe as possible?
Really, the mentality of it. Don't have a victim mentality. Instead of thinking, oh, why did this happen to me? Be thinking, what can I do in the moment to save lives, to save my life, to save somebody else's life. But really, it's the forethought, the planning part of that. If this happens, how do I respond? And so we're teaching as well, I'm an instructor in this, in the Run, Hide, Fight system that teaches civilians, teaches other people how they can buy time as law enforcement is arriving, what they can do, different techniques. And that's free for the training. All they have to do is reach out to the Oklahoma Highway Patrol. We're teaching entire school districts right now and teachers in that. And so really that mentality of I'm going to do what I can to help others.
Okay. All right. Trooper Foster, thanks so much for coming on today. I'm sure this has helped reassure some people watching out there what's being done here in Oklahoma. So we really appreciate it.
Definitely.